You know, folks, I get accused, or fans like me, or people like me get accused a lot for doing things that some people feel we shouldn't. You know, recently I created 2 new fan vids, and apparently some people feel that since I've been sharing my latest fan vid, if you will, that I shouldn't be stealing people's fan vids. Now, here's my question. Why all of a sudden, after all the fan vids I've shared before, why all of a sudden are people getting on me, or getting on people like me, about a certain fan vid? Well, apparently it's because maybe the certain fan vid focuses on a certain pairing. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Not again, right? Well, apparently that's exactly what it is. Apparently that's exactly what it is, folks. You see, it seems that when you have a fan vid that focuses on one pairing, is on one pairing, people get a little upset, or they make excuses. Now, I can understand that certain people don't like certain pairings. I've discussed this many times. Everybody has a right to liking certain pairings. Some people will like one pairing because they feel it's based off the games, it's more realistic, it's more official. Some will like another pairing because that's been the pairing officially since, well, almost 20 years. And that pairing's more noticeable and has gotten over more. So, what's the big difference? You know, so what's the big deal? Why the sudden dislike for a certain pairing, if you know what I mean? Well, apparently there's a reason. It's kind of like, I guess you could say, it's kind of like when somebody says, this, you know, says that one version of, and I'll use an example of one of my teenage nephew's favorite online RPG, that their version of World of Warcraft is better than this version. Some will say their version, the version they play of RuneScape or StarCraft is better than this version. You see, it's all about people's preference. And sometimes when people say, oh, well, you're doing this and that's wrong, that's stealing. First of all, it's not stealing if they have a download button they have a download button on the site where the picture is. It's not stealing that when you press the download image and you save it to a file, to a folder on your file system, on your computer system, and it's saved under the same name, under the same picture name that it's named after, if you know what I mean, that it's actually named, I should say. I know that sounds confusing. Then it's not stealing. And I'll be honest with you, I have not once heard somebody complain. Nobody's really complained. No one's complained to me. No one's complained to anybody else that's done it. So the only reason people would want to get on people like me for doing what we're doing is because they don't like a certain pairing. And again, I understand that. I completely understand it. It's like I just said with the examples I was using. It's all about liking a certain thing or a certain version better than the other. If you like I said, it's like you play World of Warcraft or RuneScape or StarCraft, some of my teenage nephew's favorite online games. If you play Modern Warfare games, people are always going to say one is better than the other. You know, they tout out the fact that Modern Warfare 3 is the best of them all, and they probably are right. But then again, there will be those out there that will say, oh, well, Modern Warfare 2 is better than that, or Modern Warfare 1, the original, is better than that. So yeah, you're going to have people arguing the difference and saying one's better than the other. But you know what? That's their choice. That's their decision. But the thing is, when somebody, let's say, does a fan art or fan video on it, and let's say they use fan art or even fan vids, clips from fan vids, you can't just say, oh, you're stealing and all that. The only way people would assume that is if you have the actual artist or curators of the fan vid or the fan art coming up to your video and saying, hey, you didn't get my permission for this. And I've had people say that a few times, but no one's really complained. But overall, no one's really said anything. Some people would just tell me, well, I'm happy you made this video, it looks great, but can you please get my permission next time you use my fan art? And that's all I ever hear from it. And when I use the fan art again, no one really says anything. The only way fan art cannot be used is if the artist put some kind of block on it. I mean, I remember downloading, or supposedly downloading, a few fan art pictures to use in fan vids, and when I would use them, it would shut down the program I was trying to make the fan vid on. So you get what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily mean, folks, that you're stealing if you're able to download. If it says download image and it lets you do a save as, and you're saving it under the same title name that it's named. Get what I'm saying? And that's why right now the fan vid I'm working on, when it comes to pairings, I think it's going to satisfy everybody, because it's not going to focus on one, it's not going to focus on two, it's not going to focus on three, it's going to focus on multiple pairings that people support with this franchise. On multiple pairings. Either we like the pairing or we don't. Whether we want to see the pairing happen or don't. It's going to focus on it. Now, there may not be some pairings in there that people want, that people would hope for, but this is just to kind of help things out. So that's all I'm going to say on this whole situation. You got any comments? Leave them down below. I'll talk to you all later.